Let us start. Very, very auspicious Ekadashi day. So, all the more nice to repeat the shlokas from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, here Krishna Katha, right? So, let us do that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. जगन्नाथ बलदेश्वर माई की जय, नरसिंह भगवान की पंचतत्व की षड गोस्वामी की जय, गुरु परंपरा की शिल प्रभुपाद की जय. So today is the Putrada Ekadashi. So actually, one who wishes to fulfill his desires should strictly observe this Putrada Ekadashi. See, while on this planet, one who strictly observes this Ekadashi, he will surely obtain a son. And after death, he will achieve liberation. So Putrada Ekadashi is especially auspicious day for those who wish to obtain a pious son. So you always know, actually Yudhishthira is asking questions and the Lord is responding why we should follow, what is Ekadashi and all this. So most of you know about that. We'll just, because the time is of the essence, right? We'll just see the story and the benefit of hearing this and reciting this. So Krishna is telling, O king, now I shall narrate to you the history of Putrada Ekadashi, which removes all kinds of sins and makes one famous and learned. So it so happened once there was a kingdom named Bhadravati, okay, which was ruled by King Suketuman, and his queen was Shaibya. Now because he had no son, he spent a very long time in anxiety, right? And naturally he was thinking, if I have no son, who will carry on my dynasty? So the king meditated with a very religious attitude for a long time, thinking, where should I go? What should I do? How can I get a pious son, Putra? So in this way, King Suketuman, he could not find any happiness anywhere in his kingdom, even in his own palace also. And as soon as he was spending more and more time inside his wife's palace, he was only thinking, how could he get a son? Always disappointed and frustrated. So both King Suketuman and Queen Shaibya, they were in great distress. See, the point, even when they offered this tarpana, oblations of water to their forefathers, they are in misery. In fact, it made them think that, oh, it is so hot, boiling water, they cannot drink that also. That much misery they were finding. So they thought they will not have any descendants to offer tarpana to them when they died. So thus the souls become ghosts. So the king and queen, they were especially upset to learn that their forefathers were worried that soon there would be no one to offer them tarpana also. So after learning of their forefathers' unhappiness, king and queen became more and more miserable. So nobody is able to give them the solution, ministers or friends. None, they could not cheer them up also, right? So the king thought to himself, it is said that without a son, marriage is wasted. For a family man with no son, both his heart and his splendid house remain vacant and miserable, he was thinking. So bereft of a son, man cannot liquidate the debts that he owes to his forefathers or to the devas, demigods and to other human beings. So therefore every married man should endeavor to beget a son. So he will become famous within this world and at last attain the auspicious back to Godhead, right? So a son is proof of the pious activities. It's a very nice point given. Krishna said, a son is a proof of the pious activities a man performed in his past 100 lifetimes. And such a person achieves a long duration of life in this world along with a good health and great wealth. So possessing sons and grandsons in the lifetime proves that one has worshipped Lord Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the past. So the great blessings of sons, wealth, sharp intelligence can be achieved only by worshipping the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is my opinion. So thinking thus, the king had no peace. So he remained in anxiety day and night, from morning to evening. So he was completely... So what happened? Once he rose in the morning, and again he was feeling anxious. So suffering such a constant anxiety, he decided to end his misery by committing suicide also. But he realized that suicide throws a person to hellish conditions of rebirth. So he abandoned that idea. Okay. So seeing that he was gradually destroying himself by his all-consuming anxiety over the lack of a son. So the king at last, what did he do? He mounted his horse and left for the dense forest alone. No one, even the priests, Brahmins, nobody knew where he had gone. So in that forest, which was filled with the deers, birds, animals, right? King Suketuman, so wandered aimlessly. He was noting different kinds of trees, shrubs, then fig, bell fruit, date palm, jackfruit, bakuls, so many the fruits and all, right? All were beautifully decorated with fruits and flowers. And he saw deers, tigers, boars, lions, huge elephants. Right? There were cows, jackals, rabbits, leopards, hippopotamuses. So beholding all these animals, accompanied by the mates, and the offspring, the king remembered his own difficulties, right? So he became so sad, and he wandered into the forest. Suddenly the king heard a jackal howl in the distance. So he began to wander, looking around in all directions. Now soon it was midday, and the king started he was becoming tired. So he was tormented by hunger and thirst. He thought, what sinful deed could possibly have been done so that I am now forced to suffer like this, with my throat parched and burning, my stomach empty and rumbling. So he was thinking, I have pleased the Devas, the demigods, with numerous fire sacrifices and abundant devotional worship. I have given many gifts and delicious sweets in charity to all the worthy Brahmins, and I have taken care of my subjects as though they were my own children. Why then am I suffering? This question comes to all of us, right? I'm doing nothing wrong to anybody, but still. So what unknown sins have come to bear fruit and torment me in this dreadful way? So absorbed in these thoughts, King Suketuman, he struggled, he was just struggling forward. Eventually, because of his pious activity credits, he came upon a beautiful lotus-bearing pond, and that resembled the famous lake Manasarovar. It was filled with aquatics, so including crocodiles, many varieties of fish, lilies and lotuses. So the beautiful lotuses had opened to the sun, and swans, cranes, ducks, they were happily moving around in the waters. Nearby were many attractive ashramas, and where resided many saints and sages who could fulfill the desires of anyone. So they wished everyone well, right? So when the king saw all of this, his right arm and right eye began to quiver. So it's a very shakuna, good sign, right, for a male, that something auspicious was about to happen. So king, he got down from his horse and stood before the sages, who were sitting on the pond, right near the pond. He saw that they were chanting the holy names of the Lord on japa beads. The king paid his obeisances, and joining his palms, he addressed them with glorified praises. So observing the respect the king offered them, the sages said, "We are very pleased with you. O king, kindly tell us why you have come here. What is in your mind? Please inform us what is your heart's desire." So the king replied, "O great sages, who are you? What are your names? Surely your presence reveals that you are all auspicious saints. So why have you come to this beautiful place? Please tell me everything." So the sages replied, "O king, we are known as the 10 Vishwadevas, the sons of Vishwa, Vasu, Satya, Kratu, Daksha, Kala, Kama, Dhriti, Pururava, Madhava and Kuru. We have come here to this very lovely pond to bathe. The month of Magha, that is Madhava Masa, will soon be here in 5 days from the Magha Nakshatra. And today is the famous Putrada Ekadashi. One who desires a son should strictly observe this particular Ekadashi. So the king said, I have tried so hard to have a son. If you great sages are pleased with me, kindly grant me the boon of having a good son, Putra. See, the very meaning of Putrada, right? Meaning, the sages replied is, giver of a Putra, pious son. So please observe a complete fast on this Ekadashi. So if you do so, then by our blessing and by the mercy of Lord Krishna, Shri Keshava, right, surely you will obtain a son. On the advice of the Vishwadevas, the king observed the auspicious fast, right, on this Putrada Ekadashi according to the established rules and regulations. And on the Dwadashi, after completing his fast, he paid obeisances again and again to all of them. So soon after, Suketuman returned to his palace and united with his queen. Queen Shabya immediately became pregnant, and exactly as the Vishwadevas had predicted, a bright-faced, beautiful son was born to them. So in due course of time, he became so famous as a heroic prince, and the king gladly pleased his noble son by making him his successor. So the son of Suketuman took care of his subjects very nicely, wonderfully well, just as if they were his own children, just like Suketuman was doing. So you see, in conclusion, he says, O Yudhishthira, one who wishes to fulfill his desires should strictly observe Putrada Ekadashi. While on this planet, one who strictly observes this Ekadashi will surely obtain a son, and after death he will achieve liberation. So anyone who even reads or hears the glories of Putrada Ekadashi obtains the merit earned by performing a horse sacrifice. It is to benefit all humanity that I have explained all this to you. So thus ends the narration of the glories of Pausha Shukla Ekadashi or Putrada Ekadashi from the sacred Bhavishya Purana of Veda Vyasadeva. Jai Ekadashi Mahatme Ki Jai. So today's theme is importance of preaching Krishna consciousness. You might have heard of the word Sankalpa. Correct. See, in the Sanatana Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma system of religion, right? Before performing any religious ritual, including chanting of mantras or deity worship or any yajna or sacrifice, one should do a sankalpa, right? Intention, right? Either verbally or mentally. And sankalpa is a Sanskrit term that refers to a very heartful desire, like a determination or intention or resolve to do something. Correct. See, in our Krishna conscious movement, preaching is considered the essence and it pleases Lord Krishna. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.69, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. The one who preaches Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad, right? So it is important that before we do this, okay, we should meditate on the sankalpa or the heart's intention. So what can be the sankalpa before we start preaching? See, it should not come out of our mental concoctions or what do we say, purpose also intellectual gymnastics. No. See, bona fide acharyas have handed over this to us in the disciplic succession. So the Adi Guru or the original spiritual master of our parampara is Lord Brahmaji. And while giving the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam to Sri Narada, he speaks beautiful verses in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7, 51 and 52. He says in Bhagavatam 2.7.51, Idam Bhagavatam Nama Yanme Bhagavatoditam Sangrahoyam Vibhutabdhinam Tvametad Vipulikuru. He says, O Narada, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Brahmaji received the science of Godhead from the Lord directly. The first verse is 111, he says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavi. And he handed over the same to Narada, who in his turn ordered Srila Vyasadeva to expand it. So, the transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Lord, right, it's not mental speculation just by the mundane wranglers, no, which Prabhupada says, but it is uncontaminated, eternal, perfect knowledge, beyond the jurisdiction of material modes. So this Bhagavata Purana is therefore the direct incarnation of the Lord in the form of transcendental sound. And one should receive this transcendental knowledge from the bona fide representative of the Lord in the chain of disciplic succession. Very important. From Lord Brahmaji, from Brahmaji to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, Vyasadeva to Shukadeva Goswami, Shukadeva Goswami to Suta Goswami. So the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree drops from one hand to another without being broken by falling suddenly from a high branch down to the earth. No, not like that. It is coming in parampara. So the point to understand is, unless one hears the signs of Godhead from the bona fides representatives of the disciplic succession, for one to understand the theme of signs of Godhead will be a difficult job. So it should be never heard from the professional Bhagavatam reciters who earn their livelihood by gratifying the senses of the audience. So the point is, having heard the signs of Godhead from bona fide representative of the disciplic succession, it is our pious duty to pass it on to others. And while doing this service of preaching, what should be our intention? What should be our purpose? What should be our determination or sankalpa is very wonderfully given by Lord Brahma in Bhagavatam 2.752. Gita haro bhagavati nrinam bhaktir bhavishyati sarvatmani akilad dhare iti sankalpya varnaya. Please describe the signs of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being and Sammam Bonam, source of all energies. So this makes it very clear that our only sankalpa for preaching is to present the matter in such a way that it will be quite possible for the human beings to develop devotional service to Lord Hari. Yata haro bhagavati nrinam bhaktir bhavishyati. So we should not be having any other intention or determination which may range from earning our livelihood or earning name and fame or having any other material or spiritual goals. No. So Prabhupada, he writes very clearly in the purport of 2752. Narada is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master, that is Brahmaji, to present the signs with determination and in good plan. See, Narada was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. No. He is ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously in a missionary spirit. See, in his lecture on Bhagavad Gita 1.28 and 29 in London on July 22, 1973, Prabhupada makes us understand the sankalpa with which preaching is to be done. This is preaching spirit. Prabhupada says this is preaching. See, as soon as you get some opportunity, preach. So what is that preach? Preaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised us. Yare deke tare kaha Krishna upadesha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 7.128. So this is preaching. Whoever you meet, simply speak of the instruction of Krishna. So if you are advanced, if you know what is the instruction of Krishna, by reading Bhagavad Gita, you can preach to others. And if you have not read Bhagavad Gita or anything, suppose you do not know anything, then you can also preach. What is that? Just you can tell them, just become a devotee of Krishna, my dear sir. That's all. This is also preaching. Then another purpose is just surrender to Krishna. You go door to door. If you cannot do anything, simply say, my dear sir, you are a very good man. Oh, you are a very intelligent man. Chant Hare Krishna. Purpose makes simple, right? So preaching Krishna to others is the best help we could do to others and to please Supreme Lord Krishna. See, we might initially think our lack of proper communication skills, right? It will be a problem. So we might not be the correct instrument in the hands of Lord. We might think, right? So today, before preparing, right, while going through Prabhupada's letters in the way, right, I came across a very encouraging reply given by Prabhupada to his disciple. The extract of the letter is, Prabhupada says, you mentioned that you are not a very bold preacher, but you will become bold if you have got sincerity. In the beginning also, Prabhupada says, in the beginning also I could not speak, but Krishna is within you, and when you are serving him sincerely, he will give you courage, boldness and everything. See, we are not going to bluff anyone or cheat others. And we are delivering the message on behalf of Krishna. So, we haven't got anything to fear. And we should always be mindful of our topmost position of occupation of life. Right? So, to be the messenger of... See, Prabhupada says that to be the messenger of the king is practically as good as to be the king. So, the king is the most exalted position. So, I act like a king because no one can defeat me. And similarly, if you should take your responsibility very, very seriously as being the representative of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is God himself, right? So, let's see, always pray to Krishna to give you the strength for accomplishing the mission by doing what I am doing. Prabhupada is saying, always pray to Krishna to give you the strength for accomplishing this mission by doing what I am doing. That is what Prabhupada is doing. Prabhupada says, my first business is to give the devotees the proper knowledge and engage them in devotional service, so that it is not very difficult task for you. Prabhupada writes, I have given you everything. So read and speak from the books, and so many new lights will come out. We have got so many books. So if we go on preaching from them, for the next 1000 years there is enough stock. So while we are engaged in serving the Lord, either directly or by directly engaged in serving Lord in temple, or indirectly performing one's prescribed duties, sometimes we may feel ourselves incompetent or incapable of doing that particular service, right? But if there is sincerity of purpose, Krishna will provide us all strength and courage to talk and use our energy and time in his service. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham mande paramananda madhavam. The Supreme Personality of God is said has the form of Sachidananda Vigraha, transcendental bliss, knowledge and eternity. I offer my respectful obeisance to him who turns the dumb into eloquent speakers, enables the lame to cross mountains. Such is the mercy of the Lord. So even if we don't know what to speak, if we sincerely read Srila Prabhupada's books, we will be able to dispel the darkness of ignorance, first from our lives, and also be able to spread light to others. So Srila Prabhupada says, books are the basis, purity is the force, utility is the principle, and preaching is the essence. So, whether it is home, books, family, time, or any other asset that we are bestowed with, including this human birth, we need to always consciously check if we are utilizing it properly. See, just like how the idle mind is a devil's workshop, everything becomes demoniac when we are not using them in Krishna's service. See, for example, iron rod becomes rusty when not put into use. So knowledge also becomes useless if we don't share it. My Guru Maharaj, he had written one Shubhashita about 3 stages of wealth. See, Dhanam Bhogo Nashat Tirshro Gatayo Bhavanti Vittasya Yona Dadati Na Bhungte Tasya Tratiya Gatir Bhavati. So there are 3 types of end uses of wealth. Number 1, giving as a gift or charity, dhana. That is first one. Second is for owner's own use, bhoga. And third, destruction by way of theft, fall of money value. Right? These are 3 uses of wealth. One is you give it a gift or charity. Second is you can use yourself, right? Or it is destruction, thief, or the value of money is going down. So if a person, if he neither gifts his money for a right cause, nor uses it for his own consumption, it is certain the fate of the wealth will be of the third type, destruction. So if you are not magnanimous enough to donate, at least spend the money for yourself. If you are miserly, what will happen? No. My Guru Maharaj said, then neither you enjoy, nor the people related to you can enjoy it. And he said, many times people die without even telling the family members about their wealth. So much so, the banks enjoy all the unclaimed money. Haribol. So time is more precious than money. As Chanakya Pandita says, it's not possible to get back the time even by spending crores of money. So, we should utilize time more carefully. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explains the proper utilization as renunciation. So when one devotee asked Prabhupada how we can develop and cultivate renunciation, Prabhupada replied, renunciation means you must first stop your sense gratification. That is renunciation. If you engage in your sense gratification, then how can you satisfy Krishna's senses? So you have to stop this nonsense sense gratification. You have to adopt the real sense gratification. That is renunciation. Renunciation does not mean you become idle. Very important point. Does not mean you become idle. Renunciation means you have to stop nonsense things and then begin real thing. That is renunciation. See, the Mayavadi philosophy is stop everything. And by stopping everything, what is the gain? Stop nonsense. Do something sensible. That is wanted. Just like Krishna says, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, 18.66 Bhagavad Gita, he says, give up everything. Does Krishna say after give up everything and does he say then stop? Krishna doesn't say that. He said, Maam ekam sharanam vraja, come here, that is wanted. And Prabhupada says, no, just like the dictaphone they used to record, right? He said, stop recording cinema songs, record Krishna Katha discussion of Krishna. That is utilization properly. So, everything has got utility. When it is used for Krishna, that is proper utility. And when it is used for other purpose, that is Maya. See, while going through Bhagavatam, I came across a fantastic verse. I can appreciate the glories of this divine movement of Krishna consciousness movement through this shloka. Parampara means repetition. Maitreya Muni says in 3.6.36 Bhagavatam, Tatapi kirtayami anga yatha mati yatha shrutam kirtim hares swam sat kartum giram hanyabhi sadritam. In spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from the spiritual master, whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing glorification of the Lord by pure speech. For otherwise, my power of speaking would remain unchanged. So Prabhupada has given us the basic principles in simple ways. Books are the basis, purity is the force, utility is the principle, and preaching is the essence. So, under the kind guidance of spiritual master, Vaishnavas, we should take shelter of the books given by Srila Prabhupada, remaining pure all the time in thoughts, words and actions, thereby utilizing everything in Krishna's service. So we are supposed to glorify the Lord, right? To preach. Ours is a preaching movement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also ordered, Yare dekhe, tare kahe Krishna upadesha. See, in one of the lectures of Prabhupada, he says, preaching is very simple. Just repeat what you have heard. So here Maitreya Rishi is telling Vidura that whatever he has heard from his spiritual master and whatever he could assimilate, he is going to speak. He is going to repeat to him, that's all. It is not in our qualification to speak on this sublime subject matter, not possible. So, yatha mati yatha shrutam. He is saying that he is just repeating whatever he has heard and whatever he could assimilate or remember in this regard. The important point to note here is, whatever we may be speaking anytime as a matter of duty, is not based on our own qualification, okay, but due to the mercy of Guru, Vaishnavas and Krishna. We have to simply be like a postman. Repeat. So when I came across this verse and read the fantastic purport by Srila Prabhupada, I realized the importance of repetition. See, in general, in this world where advertisements are more prominent, right? Everyone wants to do and so have something new. Okay, people feel bored by old or the same things. Change is a modern mantra for them. People do not like old tradition, old culture, old civilization, old fashion, right? They are fed up with everything that is repetitive in nature. They want new. This is a modern idea, right? But here in our case, we have something that is the same from time immemorial. Same Bhagavatam, same Bhagavad Gita, same Hare Krishna mantra. Sometimes devotees sing new tunes, but the mantra is the same, Hare Krishna mantra. They are not producing anything new. But in this Maha Mantra and in these scriptures, we find newer and newer taste over and over again. Swadu, swadu, pade, pade. So that is the beauty of it. One Srila Prabhupada was asked, Swamiji, what do you get by this chanting? Prabhupada replied, more chanting. Prabhupada says Maitreya's statement is that in order to avoid unchaste conscious activities, unchaste, he was trying to describe the unlimited glories of the Lord, although he did not have the ability to describe them perfectly. So this glorification of Krishna is not a product of research, but the result of hearing submissively from authority of the spiritual master. So we must first hear submissively from Guru and Vaishnavas, and then the same thing we can repeat. Srila Prabhupada says, it is also not possible to repeat all that one has heard from his spiritual master, correct? But one can narrate as far as possible by one's honest endeavor. It does not matter whether Lord's glories are fully explained or not. One must attempt to engage one's bodily, mental and verbal activities in the transcendental glorification of Krishna. Otherwise, such activities will remain unchaste and impure. So the existence of the conditioned soul can be purified only by the method of engaging mind and speech in the service of Krishna. So since we are in the conditioned stage, it is not possible to repeat all that we have heard. So Srila Prabhupada advises us to make our honest attempt to repeat whatever we can in this respect. Evam parampara praptam. So the purity of speech is engaging the tongue in glorification of Krishna. His name, form, qualities, pastimes, glorifying his devotees. Right? So the principle of chanting is to glorify the Lord and not to attract a crowd. Very important point. See, there is a very nice statement. No, it made me think very deeply about how this instruction refers with preaching of Bhagavatam to the people. See, all of us know how great is this great Puran Srimad Bhagavatam. But many times we are not aware of people who are talking on such great literature. Are they really up to the mark to discuss on such highly sophisticated and pure spiritual literature? See, let us remind ourselves about the kind of people we should never listen when speaking on the great Purana. See, there is no gain in accepting message of Bhagavatam from non-believers, atheists and professional reciters who make a trade of Bhagavatam for the layman. See, it was delivered to Shukadeva Goswami and he had nothing to do with Bhagavata business. He did not have to maintain family expenses by such trade. Srimad Bhagavatam should therefore be received from the representative of Shukadeva Goswami, who must be in the renounced order of life without family encumbrance. See, milk is undoubtedly very good and nourishing, but when it is touched by the mouth of a snake, it is no longer nourishing. It becomes a source of death. Similarly, those who are not strictly in the Vaishnava discipline should not make a business of this Bhagavatam and become a cause of spiritual death for so many hearers. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the purpose of all the Vedas is to know Him, don't know Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Himself in the form of recorded knowledge. Therefore, it is a scream of all the Vedas and it contains all historical facts of all times in relation with Sri Krishna. It is factually the essence of all histories. You can see in 1.3.41 purport. See, many of us could ask ourselves, I am not fully fixed up devotee. Should I preach or not this Purana? It is simple and maybe imperfect, but as long as we stick to Srila Prabhupada's purport, always taking his reference, never concocting or innovating some other unauthorized scriptures just to show in front of public that we are very important and intelligent. No, right? Or entertain mass by introducing Rasa Leela, this Leela in Bhagavatam class just to attack them. See, I even read in some web pages that some of the devotees know, they have introduced instead of Bhagavatam class, a mix of Bhagavatam class, Yoga Asana course, meditation course, so many other psychological self-improvement classes. So when it was shown to my Guru Maharaj, he was very disappointed. He said, Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada never mixed Bhagavatam with such things, just to attract the crowd. We only need Srimad Bhagavatam course and no other course. See, we all remember the story of Srila Prabhupada after he came back from America for the first time in India, in Vrindavan. See, many Vrajvasis, saints, they came to hear Bhagavatam class, all expecting some important, intimate descriptions from Rasa Leela which they have never heard before. So they are waiting for Prabhupada's class. To the greatest surprise and disappointment of all Srila Prabhupada's, right? Because Srila Prabhupada decided to speak on nectar of instruction first verse. Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Srila Prabhupada could have easily spoken on some important Rasa Leela, right? He had both the knowledge and realization, but he refused to entertain the crowd. He instead gave them the important instruction which we all need. And finally, before closing, a lot of things to be said, but time is of essence. So, in order to preach, Nityam Bhagavata Sevya is a must. And if we do not study seriously and sincerely to preach the message of Krishna, then the slogan of Srila Prabhupada, preaching is the essence, it will become cheating is the essence. So we have to be on guard all the time with the weapon of transcendental knowledge to destroy our ignorance first, before we give enlightenment to others. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki nitai gopindu, Vancha kalpatarubhich kripa sandhu bhaivacha, patitaram pavanevi vaishnava. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. It took a little extra time, sorry for that.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।